Here's your news for February 18th, 2020. We're starting off with some big news from the upcoming Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, as the WWE has announced how Becky Lynch's WrestleMania challenger will be determined. It was announced on The Wrap and later confirmed on WWE.com that Shayna Baszler, Natalya, Asuka, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan will compete in a chamber match, with the winner earning a Raw Women's title match at WrestleMania. Baszler is expected to challenge Lynch at WrestleMania following her appearance on last week's Raw, where she bit the man following her title retention against Asuka. Post-match, Becky refused to get in the ambulance, instead driving off in it herself, but later returned to Raw to tell Baszler that she'd better find Lynch before Lynch finds her. In addition to the women's chamber match, there will also be a men's chamber match to determine the challenger for the Universal title at WrestleMania, and the pay-per-view will take place at the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia on March 8th. Over to Raw now, and though Matt Hardy said goodbye last week, he was then booked into a no-holds-barred match with Randy Orton for this week, though that match never took place. Kicking off the Red Show, Orton said the match couldn't happen as Hardy wasn't medically cleared to compete, which was followed by Matt cutting a promo on the Viper. After feigning sincerity, Orton would level the tag star with an RKO and teased another concerto, but instead delivered a much more sickening version of the move on the steel steps. After delivering a second, Orton gave an apology to his fallen opponent, and while the Legend Killer seemed very conflicted, the crowd weren't so confused. After each punishing move by the Viper, the crowd chanted "one more time," and Matt's wife Rebby sent out a tweet after the segment, wondering if it was cold in the arena. Some have interpreted this to be connected to the cold-hearted crowd, though others have taken it as questioning why Matt was wearing a jacket, though that was probably done to soften the blows of the chair shots. Whatever the truth is, it looks like this might be the last time fans see Matt in WWE for quite some time, as though we all know never to say never, Matt's contract expires on March 1st, and we still have no news about him re-signing. Though Matt may have one foot out the door, one star who fans will still be able to see plenty of is Shelton Benjamin. A former United States Intercontinental and Tag Champion, Benjamin's latest run with the company hasn't been up to the same level as his past tenure, but the 44-year-old revealed to Lillian Garcia on her Chasing Glory podcast that he's signed a new multi-year deal with WWE. Since returning in 2017 after years of working in Japan on the Indies, Benjamin hasn't received much of a push, with the most notable thing he's done being a brief tag team with fellow amateur wrestler Chad Gable, and he's had the occasional segment with his old college teammate Brock Lesnar. While he's rarely seen on Raw, Benjamin often works house shows and WWE Main Event, and is exactly the kind of veteran the company needs when producing hours and hours of content every week. From a veteran of WWE to the company's next generation, as NXT TakeOver Portland happened last weekend, and Triple H had plenty to say about the show. When asked about the crossover of brands that will see NXT Women's Champion Rhea Ripley face Raw's Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, The Game said that the USA Network had no influence on the decision, but it was instead the handiwork of the boss, Vince McMahon. He said, "Actually, USA had no involvement at all. To be honest, it was shocking when it was first mentioned to me," stated Hunter. "I believe that this was really just a decision of Vince's part on understanding where the other stories are going for the women. As you build more on these things, to me, you have opportunities where you look at a moment in time and you go, okay, well, does Charlotte go after Bayley and Sasha Banks on that side? Does she move into that world? Does she come after Becky Lynch? All these things that you've sort of seen before, and you're looking to get fresh and building new, and I think that you see that with Shayna Baszler going after Becky Lynch, and you see that in different ways on SmackDown with where they're going. So this was a way of Charlotte Flair needing to be in that big epic role. I think it really had nothing more to do with that. It's good storytelling, and that's what the goal is here. It's really good storytelling across the board, so I think when you look at that, you have Charlotte in that position, Rhea Ripley having an incredible year, and just getting to where she's at, and then Bianca Belair as well having an incredible year," Triple H said about her swift stamp that she's made on the women's division. "I was just speaking to her in the back. In 2016, she stepped in the ropes with us for the first time to start training, and when you consider the fact in just that short, in probably less than a 4-year window, man, she's become one of the absolute best in the world." There's still plenty of weeks for Ripley and Flair to build their feud before WrestleMania 36, which will take place on April 5th in Tampa, Florida. We're taking a break from the ring now, as John Cena's been dating his girlfriend Shayna for a while now, and it looks like their relationship has gone to the next level. While Cena was snapping pics with fans at the Belmont Park in San Diego, California, more eagle-eyed fans caught sight of Shay, who was wearing a big rock on her ring finger. Of course, this led to speculation that the pair are engaged, and while we'll have to see whether a public announcement is made, it is certainly a very interesting development for the 16-time world champion and his partner. We've got some sad news to report now, as Tammy Sytch, better known as Sunny in the WWE, has suffered a lot of hardships in her life, including issues with drugs, alcohol, and multiple arrests. As of right now, Sunny remains incarcerated in Pennsylvania, where she's been since March of last year, and this came after a bench warrant was issued for her arrest in February last year. The PW Insider reports that Sytch is scheduled for a hearing on Thursday, February 20th, and this will have to do with a petition that Sunny's new attorneys filed last month when taking her on as a client. Sunny missed a drug test on February 11th last year. She also didn't pay the $120 a month that was required to stay out on parole. This caused her parole to be revoked. Now she's still in jail over a year later, but hopefully there will be brighter days ahead for Sunny. Back to WWE now, and after NXT TakeOver Portland, Kathy Kelly did her usual post-show Q&A session with Triple H, though this one was special because it was her last. In an emotional scene, the Game thanked Kelly for all her hard work over the years, and the Undisputed Era also stopped by to bid her farewell, making her the honorary 5th member of the group. It was obviously a very emotional moment for Kelly, who has now moved on to other projects outside of WWE, but it's great to see that she was able to walk away with no ill will to the company. From departures to returns now, as AJ Styles returned to Monday Night Raw this week, after being sidelined with a minor shoulder injury he suffered during the Men's Rumble match. With Gallows and Anderson by his side, Anderson referred to the Phenomenal One as the new WrestleMania, while Styles claimed to be the greatest superstar in any roster and in any era. As proof, Styles said that no one will be able to doubt him after he wins the two-week gauntlet match at Super Showdown on February 27th, and also said that he doesn't care who his next WrestleMania opponent is. Styles would go on to name drop stars such as The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Hulk Hogan, and the entire NWO as possible opponents, but also mentioned Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, and Ricochet. This segment led to Ricochet walking out and a match being made between him and Anderson, while rumors continue to swirl that Styles will be facing The Undertaker at WrestleMania. The Phenom himself is scheduled to make an appearance at the big event in Elmhurst, New York on March 7th, and the WWE promoted his appearance with a tweet. After not appearing at WrestleMania last year, many in the WWE universe are hoping to see the Dead Man return this year, and a match with Styles would be interesting to say the least. Speaking of WrestleMania, we're having a look at last year's show, where Kofi Mania ran wild, culminating in Kofi Kingston winning the WWE Championship. The journey for the New Day star to get his match at Mania was tough to say the least, as Vince McMahon constantly put up roadblocks every time it appeared that the veteran star would finally get his title match against then-champion Daniel Bryan. During the New Day's Feel the Power podcast, Big E revealed one angle that WWE cut from their plans, which would have seen the boss's office trashed. He said, "The original plan was that you and I were supposed to go backstage ripping things up on a tear. We go to his office, we go to Vince's office, and we knock on his door, and either he doesn't answer or he opens the door and says, 'Oh, I don't have time for you,' or something like that. The plan legitimately, and I was so excited for this, was that we kick in the door. We tear his office up, legit throwing things over. I think he's in the office in the corner. We're throwing tables over and making a mess of his office, just going on a rampage, and had this visceral anger about what's happening to Kofi, and one of those things that drove the storyline was that Kofi's story so closely paralleled Bryan's, but to me didn't feel like it was a ripoff or derivative of Bryan's story at all, and of course the fact that you're pitted against Bryan at WrestleMania when that came. I think some of the language was interesting, that he who shall not be named talked about you, that you were a B+ player and you weren't good enough. It was a lot of thinly veiled when you've got 13 years of experience, why exactly aren't you good enough?" Instead of getting aggressive, the trio cut passionate promos about Kofi, and it all seemed to come perfectly together in the end. With that in mind, perhaps WWE will save the idea of someone trashing McMahon's office, because that idea still sounds amazing. In the same podcast, Big E brought up how the boss called him and Xavier Woods Young Bucks, and while fans will know the deeper meaning behind that term, Big E took it literally. He said, "He talked about how we rode Kofi's coattails and how we're the Young Bucks, and I was like, I'm in my mid-30s, I'm not that young, but thank you." This time last year, AEW was still yet to host their first event, and there were reports at the time that WWE were trying hard to sign the actual Young Bucks to a WWE contract. Ultimately, that never happened, as the Bucks are now a crucial part of AEW, but at the time, hearing McMahon use that term certainly made things much more interesting. We're moving from the ring to the court now, as former Raw commentator Vic Joseph has landed a new gig with the NBA. Joseph, who was commenting on the Red brand until last month, announced that he will be a part of the Cleveland Cavaliers coverage on the NBA Network for the second half of the season. Before working with WWE, Joseph covered sports media in the Cleveland area, and according to a report by Wrestling Inc., he still remains employed by WWE. Over to SmackDown now, and this week, Bray Wyatt interrupted Hulk Hogan, leading the irritated Hulkster to claim he'll see The Fiend this year at the Hall of Fame. Now, WWE is cashing in on this tension between the two, as a new Firefly Funhouse shirt has been revealed, mimicking the style of the New World Order. It's certainly a very interesting shirt, given that Hogan and the NWO will be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year, but while Hogan does want to wrestle again, he's not medically cleared, so the chances of him facing The Fiend are pretty slim. Before Wyatt gets his hands on Hogan at the Hall of Fame, though, he'll have to survive Goldberg at Super Showdown. But this isn't the only title match that'll be taking place. After Raw went off the air, WWE.com announced that Seth Rollins and Murphy will defend their Raw tag titles against the Street Profits at the show that will take place on February 27th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Though they are former NXT Tag Team Champions, the pairing of Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins are yet to hold championship gold on the main roster, though that could all change next week. And finally, we're ending with the Raw results, as the road to WrestleMania is well underway. After Randy Orton opened the show with his assault on Matt Hardy, Aleister Black defeated Eric Rowan, while Charlotte Flair, donned in NXT yellow, had plenty to say on her WrestleMania opponent Rhea Ripley. In triple threat action, 24/7 champion Riddick Moss defeated R-Truth and Mojo Rawley, while MVP's return to the ring didn't quite go according to plan, as he lost to Drew McIntyre. After Shayna Baszler confronted Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch, Bobby Lashley and Angel Garza got a big win over Rusev and Humberto Carrillo, while Kairi Sane got a count-out victory over Natalya thanks to interference by Asuka. When Seth Rollins' Sermon on the Mount was crashed by Kevin Owens and the Viking Raiders, a six-man tag match was booked for the main event, though fans saw Ricochet defeat Carl Anderson before that. In the main event, Owens and the Raiders were able to get the DQ victory, but a post-match beatdown didn't exactly make things easy for the prizefighter. Just when it looked like Rollins and his disciples were once again going to deliver a beating to Owens, it was an appearance by the Street Profits who helped turn the tide, as the Monday Night Messiah has found more enemies who oppose his self-righteous teachings.